Hey, welcome back to the channel, my fellow weather junkies. I'm your host, meteorologist Greg Majeski, your personal weatherman here, bringing you the weather without all that social media hype here on your Saturday, January 25th, 2025. Let's take a look at what we're tracking here for today as we are expecting some Southern California rains this weekend. We do have a few concerns with some of those rains. We'll talk about that and more details here in a second. Northeast looks like we got another cold shot coming your way later in the week. And of course, that means enhancement of the snows across the Great Lakes. We'll show you that as well. And we're definitely seeing a substantial pattern change taking place as we're going into February. Now, what that means, obviously greater chances for snow. We talked about that yesterday, but also potential for some severe weather. And I'll show you a couple of potential impacts as we go deeper into the month. All right, before we get going, first, I do want to say thank you to all the new subscribers on this channel. And if you could please help me with that YouTube monopoly called their algorithm, I'd appreciate it. Please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. And as always, leave me a comment down below. I really do appreciate it. All right, let's go ahead and take a look right now at the current satellite imagery here for this morning. Not bad here across the east, just cold for most places. We do have some snows back over here toward Denver. And as we look down towards Southern California, start to see the moisture increasing down here as that upper low starting to develop. And that'll eventually bring some rains in some much needed locations there across Los Angeles, especially as we go in throughout the day for tomorrow. Now, most of the map here is pretty quiet. Still got the high winds across Northern California. That's the brown there. Still got the red flag warnings here around the Los Angeles area there with some higher winds, but the winds hopefully will settle down a little bit heading into tomorrow, and those rains will be moving in across their area. Now, looking at the surface map, again, we got another cold front here. I got temperatures here in the single digits, which is a little bit better than, say, 20 below zero, but we've seen up that way, I'll say, earlier in the week. But a little weak system here in the middle of the country, and again, some snows out here through Denver. We can zoom in a little bit closer here. Pretty good bright band of snow here just north of the downtown area of Denver coming up Interstate 76. So they'll have on and off snow around this area here for today. Now, another thing we're going to be watching here is we do have a return chance for thunderstorms back in the forecast, and we're going to see that here over the next few days. So that's some good news there, especially in areas there looking at Southern California. That is going to be the main area of concern. So let me go ahead and pull that up for you here so you can see the day one outlook here, and we'll go ahead and look at that. There we go. And as you can see, we've got a couple of areas we're watching, all right? We're talking about here down toward Texas here for today, and then we also got a little bit there into central portions of California. Also, that's with that upper level low feature we were discussing there. So let's go ahead and talk about the day two. We'll go into day two. Again, stays predominantly there along the Texas Gulf Coast there, going into your Sunday, right through there. And then on the day three, that's when we'll see it kind of shift down into California as well as Louisiana. So Southern California, we're talking about Los Angeles down to San Diego with a few thunderstorms. And of course, with that brings heavier rains. And with the heavier rain threat in that area, well, that means you've got to watch out for mudslides, because when you have wildfires like this, it kind of clears out the brush, which holds that dirt in place. You get some heavy rains, then you're talking about mudslide threat increasing as we go through this weekend, especially with the heavy rain threat come in. In fact, let's talk about that. Let's look at the excessive rainfall issues here. I want to look at the day one outlook here. As you can see there across Southern California, that is the concern there for some heavy rains coming into tonight and into tomorrow morning. And that rain threat will continue right into your Sunday, Monday. So the day two outlook, there's nothing on day three, but day two outlook, you can see there, we're looking at a couple of zones, obviously here across the deep south of those thunderstorms forming there, as well as here across Southern California. So a couple of days where mudslides will be a concern across regions of Southern California. The hazard outlook basically is going to continue a 3 to 7 day outlook showing the heavy rains here across Texas and Louisiana, but that's the only hazard outlook here covering that period. That's finally seeing a little bit of a break here across most of the country here from days 3 through 7. So let's go ahead and focus in here on the short-term forecast. We're going to be looking at the high-resolution model. A few areas I want you to watch. We're going to be watching the lake effect snows kick in here. We're going to watch the rain increasing across Texas and the deep south. And then obviously we're going to watch that upper level low spin some rain there across Southern California. So watch that timestamp there in the upper right-hand corner as I take you on through this throughout the day here on your Saturday. So Saturday not looking too bad. We start to see by late in the day, we start seeing that rain start to increase here across Southern California, the interior mountains there. Here's the rain kicking up across Texas and the snow's kicking up across the Great Lakes. Now tomorrow we'll see the noticeable change here. That low really spinning off there across Southern California, really kicking in there nicely there. That's the low pressure just off the coast, upper level low. We're going to continue streaming that moisture there into California to help the firefighting efforts out there. And then obviously we've got the rain threat here across the southeast that's picking up. A few rumbles of thunder with that as well, but nothing severe with that. Just going to see some rains picking up. And we'll take this all the way out here to the end here, going into Sunday night into Monday morning, as we'll see the rains increasing across Alabama. Coming in there, there's the welcome rains continue across the areas of California and some higher mountain snows across the Sierra Nevada. Looks like a pretty good west wind here kicking in here, coming into the Lake Erie. So it looks like a pretty good snow plume there into New York State going into Monday morning as well. So let's go ahead and talk about the overall flow. I went ahead and brought this down to 500 millibars, a little lower elevation, a little easier to detect these upper level lows when they spin up here. So as I take this forward into time here, again, here's our upper level low here. This is going to be our main weather feature we're going to watch here as this kicks on out eventually here as we go through the week. Got that little cold shot coming in here for Monday, and then there's another one later in the week. So again, watch this low as it kicks on out very slowly here as we go toward Wednesday. Still kind of stuck here across the southwest. Here's that dip in the jet stream here, bringing the cold shot here across areas of the northeast as we go in toward Wednesday. So we got that one more cold shot. That'll enhance that snow risk later in the week. And then this upper level low kicks on out here. Now, when these upper level lows kick out like this, then this is going toward Friday. Again, you've got some pretty good diffluence in here, all right? So it's in these zones as you watch for a potential of severe weather. The only thing lacking this time of year typically is heat. So you got to be able to get the thunderstorms flared up. So as we go into the month of November, if we continue to get these upper level lows to kind of kick out like this, if we could see some considerable warming as the cold air retreats, we're going to have to watch very closely for the potential for severe weather. I'm seeing it here on the 31st and the 1st, and then when I take this out, here's another little weak feature that's coming out here into the plains here, going in toward the 2nd. That one needs to be watched as well. And then there's even a more substantial cutoff low here on the long range. Now, this is definitely speculation at this point, but this is a really big one here. It kicks on out here as well. That needs to be watched. Again, it's just a question of warming. If we're getting thunderstorms, the upper level winds are definitely going to be there, but it's just something to watch with the overall pattern. So the main jet stream's up here toward the north. A lot of the cold air is going to be locked up here across a big part of the country. At least the real Arctic air is going to be up into Canada for the most part. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the surface map here. We're going to look at the precipitation here. Again, as we go through this upcoming week, we got that rains here that's going to be increasing here across the south, a weak system at that. Here is that upper level low, dropping the rains and snows across Southern California, much needed there, as that'll kick on out very slowly. Here's that cold shot coming into New England, going into Tuesday and Wednesday. You see the snow enhancement there across the northeast. So we got this one here, and then you got another one back here behind it that's going to trail in, and then we'll wait for that upper level low to kind of kick on out as it comes on into the Four Corners. And then there's that cold shot. Last big Arctic shot here kind of coming into the northeast. That's going in toward Wednesday, Thursday. Boom. You'll see you'll see some upslope snows there across the Appalachians there, going into, you're talking about going into the 30th there. Once that cold shot goes by, I don't see anything real substantial coming by after that. So as that upper level kicks on out, we'll see some snows kind of drag with it. It's got its cold core with it. So it's going to be bringing some snows there across areas of Kansas with it. So it's going to be swinging up to the north. Even though the real cold air is going way up here, it's got a little bit of its own cold air with it as that pulls on out. So little snows with that sneaks up into Iowa and into areas of Minnesota going in toward the 1st. And those could be pretty heavy snows at that because we're sitting right around 30, 32 degrees. Then we're going to watch this next upper level low kind of kick on out here as well. A little upper level feature kicks on out with another snow event. So we got several snow events to watch. Here's another one going in toward the 2nd. Again, we got some rain, some thunderstorms to the deep south going in toward the 3rd. And then as we go further into the month, that snow kicks off to the northeast. And then we'll see yet another cutoff low. There's this another one kicks on out. That's that big one coming in toward the 7th and 8th, and it clicks up to the north. And of course, we'll have to watch this zone here for potential severe weather with this upper level low kicking some snows back toward Colorado. So we're definitely seeing a more progressive weather pattern. It's going to be interesting to track these upper level features because typically with upper level lows and upper level features, they typically change from model to model run very much so. So again, the paddle trend right now beyond the 7 days for these to be continuing to kick out, but the timing of that is going to be changing. So again, I'll watch that closely for you here over the next few days. All right, let's look at the rain chances here as we go for the next 72 hours here, the next 3 days. Again, most of it's heavy rain here across the deep south. Yes, we're getting some rains out here in Southern California. I'm going to zoom in on that here in just a second, but let me take you out to the 10-day total here first. We'll go all the way out here toward the 10-day and out to 240, and you're seeing some more rains here across the south. So you can see why we had that hazardous outlook here showing out there day 7. We got some pretty good heavy rains across Texas and into Louisiana. And we do got some pretty good rains there in Southern California. In fact, let's go ahead and talk about Southern California. Let's go ahead and talk about the regions here. We'll look at the West Coast here as I pull that up for you real quick. And you can see, looks like rainfall amounts maybe up to an inch, inch and a half. That's pretty decent. Not over the top 3 or 4 inches of rain, but again, mudslides could be a problem, but that will definitely be a big help there for the firefighting efforts there across Southern California. Let's go ahead and talk about the snow amounts. This is still trending here. I know we were talking about this on yesterday's update about Snowmageddon for February, and I still think that's possible here as we go further out here. We got that snow from the upper level low air tracking into the southwest, and once that kicks out into the plains, we'll watch that again. This will go into next weekend, looking at a snow track from basically Texas going all the way up into Kansas and then going up into areas of the Dakotas and into Minnesota. So that'll be going in for next weekend. And then we go beyond that. There's another system pulls in beyond that one. That dumps right on top of that snow that just fell. So we got a couple of good areas that have not seen a lot of snow this season, getting some more snow. Obviously, the lake effect here, that couple of those cold shots coming down definitely kick in big time there as well. And we'll take this all the way out to the end of its run. Again, another snow event here across areas of New Mexico. So areas that have not gotten a whole lot of snow are definitely going to see the snow threat increase as we go through the month. And this will change, obviously, from model run to model run, but definitely a more progressive pattern. One place we're not going to get snow with the big ridging here across the southeast, we ain't going to be that cold enough to get anything like that, especially after their own Snowmageddon last week. So let's go ahead and talk about the temperatures here. This is definitely going to change a little bit here as we're going to see just intermittent warming in between some cool downs. We're definitely seeing above normal temperatures here across the high plains for sure. Starting out the week, below normal here out in the west, still holding on some cool weather here across the portions of the east. But as we go in here through the week ahead, nice little warming. It's a little bit better, a little more redded across the country than the greens and the blues, that's for sure. Going into Wednesday, a lot of the country here seeing above normal temperatures here, except for areas out here in the west as we go in through the 29th. So let's go ahead and continue to watch this as we got a little cold shot there coming into New England. Remember, we got that cold shot coming in on Thursday. So we got some Arctic air coming in across New England here going in toward the 30th. And that'll briefly cool things down here across the southeast briefly with that one quick cold shot coming on in. It moves on out. Then we warm things right back up heading toward the 1st. Look at that. Here, a big part of the country here in the east, seeing above normal temperatures, cool out here in the west once again. It seems to be a trend, at least in the next 6 to 10 days. It'll be cooler out in the west and a little milder here in the east. So, and that continues right into Sunday there as we're seeing that flip-flop again. You can almost take the country, split it right in half. It's cooler here and it's warmer out here in the east. So that's going out toward the 2nd and into the 3rd of February. We're going to kick this on out. You clearly got a cold front here. You can see that. Here's got some cold air coming in here heading toward the 4th. So maybe get a little cool down here where you kind of push out that warm air briefly there across the east there. And it looks like it's kind of holding its own here. Where we continue with above normal temperatures here across the northern tier, kind of coolish with the rain and those upper level features that keep coming out across the southwest there will keep the temperatures down a little bit there. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Climate Prediction Center. Let's see if that kind of lines up with what we're seeing there with the models right there. And it does, as you can look out from the 30th through the 3rd, above normal temperatures here, kind of cooling off down here in the west, thankfully for that rain that's coming down into California, much needed there. And as we go out to the 1st to the 7th, cooler here in the west, milder in the east. So that kind of lines up with what we're seeing at least through about the 6th, and there might be another cool down here beyond that. We'll see if that holds true or not. As far as precipitation chances, this increases, or at least starting to clip away at this below normal here across the southwest. A little more rain activity there across areas of the Pacific Northwest going out through February 3rd. And then beyond that, still kind of holding dry down here. I wish we could get a little more green down here into Southern California. Looking above normal here across the Pacific Northwest and across just about the eastern third of the United States as we head from the 1st right through the 7th of the month. So, like I said, we're going to have to watch this very closely. Obviously, we got a couple of snow potential events we're going to have to watch closely there. And then we're going to watch any of those upper level lows as they kick out into the plains. Do we get any severe weather? Right now, I do not see anything that's going to be like a huge, major severe weather outbreak. I do see potentials there, marginal to slight risk for severe weather, and with that potential tornadoes as well, just because of how the dynamics are setting up. It's just a question of, is it going to be warm enough, mild enough to really help fire up any potential thunderstorms, especially areas across Texas and Oklahoma. Those are the couple areas that I'm going to be watching closely here as we progress into the month of February, at least the early portion of it. And we'll see if that trend continues later in the month. Obviously, we get later into the month, it gets a little bit milder across the deep south. So we get a greater opportunities for the clash of those classic air masses to the cold and warm air to kind of hook up, and we'll see how that works out for us later into the month. Again, I appreciate everybody following the channel. If you haven't yet decided to give us a subscribe, please do so at this time. Again, we're fighting that YouTube algorithm. I found out something I learned yesterday about the fact that basically the top 5 weather entrepreneurs out there get all the traffic, and basically the smaller channels we get the scraps. So the only way we can fight that is if we just have to get what viewers we do give to please subscribe to the channel to help try to beat back that algorithm. Okay? All right, you guys take it easy, be good, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next update. Y'all have a good day. Bye-bye.